I have the button. Oh yeah, apparently I have the power. I'm recording.
You have the
Okay,
power.
hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Cynthia Gotro, and we're here today with Dr. Doe, and she has graciously shared her time with us, and she's going to talk about mindfulness. So welcome, Dr. Doe. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So I am so glad to be here, and I'm so glad to be asked to do this, and I hope this will be a joyful time that we'll spend together and meaningful as well. My background, my name is Bang Lang Do. You can just call me Do, Dr. Do, whatever you'd like to know. And in no ways do I call myself a specialist on mindfulness. I'm one of those that still don't remember where I parked my car and uses my glasses. So, mindfulness is not something that you master, like a skill that you master and can't practice and stop practicing it. So just like music, basically. So my background is that I'm assistant director to the National Resource Center for the Asian Languages at CSUF, the College of Education. But my doctorate was in music. And I've been practicing mindfulness with the Thich Nhat Hanh tradition, who is a monk that I met in France sometimes in the 1980s. And right now I'm conducting the Mindful Mondays, which is in the CP building at CSUF. Every Monday from 11:30 to noon. So in case you want to pursue or experience more of what it is, welcome. Come whenever you can. So I would like to just ask you the question and to summarize the topic that we're going to cover today. So first we will cover all the W's. What is mindfulness? How do we practice or exhibit mindfulness? And of course, there are two W's that I think maybe some of you have the answers to. When for mindfulness and where? Does anybody want to join in and tell me the answers to when and where for mindfulness from what you know? Hello?
I would think all the time and everywhere.
All the time and everywhere. Good answer.
And maybe first thing in the morning?
First thing in the morning. It seems like you guys know, have a sort of sense of what mindfulness is already. And for me, mindfulness is, can you read what I have on the screen right now?
Nowhere.
Is there any other reading of this sign?
Now here.
That's right.
Oh.
Right. Brought up the right answer. No. Wrong. Now, when is the answer to when is now, and where the answer to where is here. And those are the basic tenets of what mindfulness is to be in the now and in the right moment, right here, as things are happening. But I have some multiple choice questions that I gave to Dr. I don't know if we are able to answer by typing, or should I just call up those questions about what you think is mindfulness? There was some multiple choice that I sent earlier, Cynthia. Is it possible to share those multiple choice of what is mindfulness?
I'm sorry, I didn't receive the multiple choice questions, but you could just ask the question and everyone could type their response in the chat window.
Okay, all right. So what is mindfulness? Answer A would be attention. Answer B could be awareness. Answer C could be focus. Answer D could be a mind full of ... And E would be a mind empty of ... F would be all of the above, and G would be none of the above.
Oh.
So can you choose an answer and type it in? Attention, awareness, focus, all of the above, none of the above.
Okay, so you have some responses. You have F. Mindfulness is awareness. Another response is F. Another one is focus. Another one is all of the above. And the other one is attention, awareness, and focus.
Right. So it looks like everybody agrees on all of the above and none of the above, right? So the all of the above and the none of the above are actually two sides of the same coin. And it is hard to define something without actually experiencing it. So I'm hoping that this session will be something that I can guide you through, a very short session of what mindfulness could be, and then we can discuss it a little later. So for introduction, I'd like to show you a video. Hopefully the YouTube link would work. And it's a very short 3 minutes video.
Welcome to Mindfulness Animated, a fun and helpful explanation. The brain has evolved so greatly that it spends much of its time solving problems that haven't yet occurred in the future, thus leading to anxiety or panic, and mulling over events in the past, leading to depression. Often it does both all the time. The question is, how can we make our brain stop and think about only the present, the state we are in when we are in the zone or in the moment? Mindfulness is derived from the Eastern meditation, a practice for thousands of years recognized to help humans control and tame our brains. Research has shown that, among other things, meditation can help depression and anxiety, reduce stress, reduce pain, while improving concentration and giving us more energy. Meditation has also been shown to improve relationships, increase creativity, boost immunity, and may even prolong life. The question is, how do you do this? Simple. This 3-step approach is all we need. For 15 to 25 minutes every day. Number 1, sit up. Number 2, close your eyes. Number 3, concentrate on your breathing or repeat a sound or word. And each time you notice that your mind is wandering, bring your thoughts back to your breath or sound or word. And if it wanders again, just bring it right back. Keep doing this until your 15 minutes has passed. I would use a meditation timer app on your phone or any timer. The more you do, the easier it gets. Many people notice their breathing slow during mindfulness meditation, and sometimes respiratory rates reduce dramatically, but this often confers benefits on mood and anxiety. Remember, each day will be different. Some days will be easier than others. Over time, you will notice that your mind wanders less, or that you can control it more as you begin to accept that it naturally wanders, but that you can bring it back to the thought at hand much easier. Once this happens, you will notice how much more time you have as your brain finds itself enjoying the present, the birds singing, the smell of the flowers, and the color of the leaves. And you may start noticing subtle smiles and looks from people all around you. And welcome to Inner Peace. Thank you for watching.
So in the gist of 3 minutes, I thought that was a pretty good video to show you guys. and to show you that it's not actually about talking about it, it's more about doing it. It's an experiential learning. And usually I conduct these things in person, but this is the first time I'm trying to guide you all through an experience together. And we'll see how you react to it and perhaps collect a few, again, my question was offering you a few multiple choice later on. So I'm going to guide you basically through a very short mindfulness practice. And we are all in different rooms right now and experiencing different things. And so after that, it will be interesting to also share what we experienced with this first session. But basically, the tenets of where and when, it's still there, which means this is it. It's a slogan that is used a lot by some of the people that I know. Not the Michael Jackson, this is it. This is it in terms of this is the moment that you are dedicating to experience fully engaged, fully living this minute that is right in front of you. So to make it easier, I hope that you are not surrounded by too much noise right now. So let's close our eyes and just try to follow your breathing as I guide you through it. Breathing in, I fill my belly with air. Breathing out slowly, I feel the breath on the top of my lips. Into belly, out, filling the air. Breathing in, I recognize the temperature of the air I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I recognize the difference in temperature of the air I'm breathing out. In, temperature. Out, temperature. Breathing in, I take note of how my neck is right now. Breathing out, I align my neck with my spine. Breathing in, neck. Breathing out, align. Breathing in, I take note of what I see with my eyelids closed. Breathing out, I see the difference in shades inside my eye. In, take note. Out, see contrast. Breathing in, I'm hearing sounds surrounding me. Breathing out, I hear the further sounds outside of the room surrounding me. In, listen. Out, hearing. Breathing in, I take note of how I am sitting. Breathing out, I take note of the balance of my weight between two sides. In, how am I sitting? Out, how do I distribute my weight? Breathing in, I send the air all the way down to my belly button. Breathing out, I send all the air out. In and out. Breathing in, I feel the tip of my fingers. Breathing out, I imagine the air going through my fingers out. In, tip of fingers, out, air passing through. Breathing in, I take note of how my tongue is in my mouth. Breathing out, I release the root of my tongue in my mouth. In, notice. Out, release. And now you can open your eyes. Do you feel more the physical sensation? Is it in the surrounding? That's would be answer A. Or is it with your own body?
I
Yes?
found the question. I posted on the chat window.
Oh, okay. Great.
So maybe it might be easier to answer it.
Yeah.
So if everyone has the chat window, I posted the question and the answer choices there. If you don't see the chat window, just click the chat button at the bottom of your screen.
So after this short exercise, are we more aware of some A's and D's especially? Huh.
Can you see the chat window, Dr. Doe?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So I see a lot of answers for I'm more aware of the sounds around me and especially my body or my body parts. Yes. And I think that's pretty normal considering that I've guided you through what a lot of people call a body scan. And this particular type of meditation helps you for those who have a hard time falling asleep or a hard time releasing tension in their muscles. It would be a good one to practice. And there are lots of material out there already made for you. If you are into online things, there are YouTubes and there are also resources that I have at the end of this seminar, webinar, and you can click on those resources and follow through with some of those meditation practices. What happens when we are answering the what? This is basically the what of what mindfulness is. What happens when we're answering all these questions is that in some ways we are living so intensely that little moment in time that we can actually do this by eating a mandarin. We can actually have a lot of joy in just simply washing the dishes because we are totally absorbed by what we are doing and we are in the flow of what we are doing. I have experienced that so intensely in these retreats that I've been to that I thought to myself, oh my goodness, why couldn't I just get all that joy for myself by building on this practice? And these little moments of joy accumulates over time. And it really helps you deal with the more stressful part of your life. I've used this also when I go to the dentist, for example, in the olden days when they had to like stick a really thick needle into your mouth. And then you know that it's coming. When you know a certain physical pain is coming, you can breathe. And actually the feeling of the pain is diminished a lot when you are practicing this. As well, when you're stuck in traffic and you're starting to feel and observe your anger or your frustration coming up, or you have a long to-do list and you're looking at it, and just looking at it just reminds you of everything that you will have to do that day, right? Then at that moment, if you just take a little stop, and then again, if you remember the video reminded us, it's really difficult to stop ourselves because we are so absorbed into what we are doing. But there are apps for that, and I'll talk about the little app later on. What is missing so far in this experience is this. Some of us can concentrate and really follow along, but some of us might not. And some of us might have thoughts coming in. Could be, oh, the dog needs to be fed. It could be, oh, I need to do the laundry. It could be anything, right? So the how is the next step to understand fully what mindfulness is. For me, I think the how is quite important. I think I need to get off the chat in order to fast forward to my next slide. Trying to get to my next slide, sorry. Okay, here's the how. So inside this how, there are some items that I'd like to share with you. First, the picture on the right. Who sees water? Can you tell me if you see water?
I see water.
Who sees the wave?
A wave.
A wave. A water
Yeah,
wave.
the first thing I saw was the wave. I don't know if that's a cup of water or whatever.
Right. So there's the saying, if you see yourself as the wave, then there would be a beginning of the wave, and there would be an ending of the wave, right? A wave is something in motion that has a beginning and an ending. But if you do see yourself as a drop of water or as water, then there is no beginning and there is no ending. So the concept of impermanence is a concept that can enrich your mindfulness practice quite a lot. And what I mean by that is sometimes you can contemplate something and focus entirely your mind on that one thing during your meditation of mindfulness and contemplate the stages of that idea, of that thing that you want to focus on. It could be a life form of any kind. It could be energy. It could be colors. And then you think more about how impermanent those things are and how perceptions gets fooled. Our brain gets fooled a lot, especially in visual perception. We've seen a lot of those examples. So that's one concept in mindfulness practice that sometimes I guide through. And some of this is very, very heavy, so I'm not going to go through that for the first introduction to mindfulness. But it does help a lot for us to situate ourselves in a timeline of infinity, basically, where we feel like we can see ourselves as the wave with a beginning and an end, or we can see ourselves as the continuation of everything else, and that there is no beginning and no end. And the second concept on the left, no mud, no lotus, is the concept that the lotus, the flower, they always grow out of the mud, of this dirty, yucky, thick mud grows a beautiful flower. And then farmers are very much in touch with how the cycles and the seasons go. And they know that without disintegrations of certain organic elements, there would be no growth of other elements. And so the concept of interdependence on the left is about how if sometimes if you reflect on your life, if this did not happen, then I would not be where I am right now. And if that did not happen, then I would not have the concept that I have right now. So how do we practice the how in mindfulness? I can guide you through one short other session, and we can share later on about how we feel. So let's close our eyes again. Breathing in all the way to the belly. Breathing out. Breathing in, I send the air to my brain. Breathing out, I'm letting go of the thoughts in my brain. Breathing in, I know that I am alive. Breathing out, I wonder where my life began. Breathing in, I see myself as a little child. Breathing out, I embrace that child. In, me as a child. Out, embracing that child. Breathing in, I see myself as a little baby. Breathing out, I feel the brain of that baby, all fresh and blank. In, baby. Out, blank. Breathing in, I see myself as a fetus inside my mother's womb. Breathing out, I feel the warmth of the womb. In, fetus. Out, warm. Breathing in, I see myself as the gene inside my father. And breathing out, I see myself as the DNA of my mother. In, out. Breathing in, send the air all the way down to your belly button. Breathing out very slowly through your mouth. You can also try one hand and block one of your nostrils. Breathe in with one nostril. And then block the other nostril and breathe out with the other nostril. Then breathe in with that nostril. And again, block that nostril and let the air out in the other nostril. Repeat one more time. In and out the outer nostril. In and out in the other nostril. Breathing in, I see myself in my grandparents. Breathing out, I see myself in the people I touch. In and out. So after this session, I have a bunch of other multiple choice questions that you can answer on the chat. Can somebody maybe read me the question?
Okay, sure, I could do it. After the exercise, I labeled my physical experience, my thoughts, my feelings, all of the above. I did not label anything.
And by labeling, I meant there's a thought that, you know, clicked on while you were breathing. I see two people who are labeling their thoughts and two who are labeling their feelings. So in a lot of different meditation sessions, you will have people give a little talk, and the topic may or may not affect you in some ways. We all have our trigger words, right? And so whether or not this little session that we had together was triggering more of the thoughts, the intellect, your brain working, or it was triggering more something at the more reptilian level of the brain, the amygdala, for example. That's all personal experiences, and they're all valid. If you feel more joy or get more out of a certain type of guide meditation, then I would just encourage you to go and look for that type of guidance meditation. This is just an introduction, so I will leave a lot of open question time after. So basically, this is all I had, really. These are the websites that I could share with you, the PowerPoint. When I went to Plum Village in France, it was about 34 years ago. This type of meditation has helped me tremendously before I have to do a competition, go on stage, because not only did I breathe to calm my heart down, I was able to control a little bit of how my heart was beating. It also gave me some spiritual or those two concepts about the water and the wave. There's no mud without lotus, no lotus without mud. Those two concepts gave me a lot of days for how to handle defeat, failures, um, losing the moment, losing my mind, losing my temper. And so there's a lot around what mindfulness means that I've learned through intense retreats. And I think I was really lucky to get into it at a very young age when my focus, my concentration was very high. And it brought me a lot of joy because, my goodness, I knew how to walk, but walking meditation is something else because suddenly I am so grateful for having 2 feet to walk. I knew how to eat, but suddenly that orange was the best orange I have ever tasted in my whole life. So it seems like just putting myself in the context to experience things very, very intensely. That's what mindfulness could bring you. And of course, to many people, it's stress reduction. Some people claim it heals them sometimes in the body. And so these are just websites that have mindfulness guidance meditation that you can just click on and listen and see if you like them. I strongly encourage that. Zabatkin is a big one, the third link there. He has the mindfulness CDs and videos of him teaching. And then at UC in San Diego also, they have many, many sessions. And so all around you, there are occasions to participate in this. It's an experiential thing. It's like you can talk about fog, but until you walk into the fog, you don't know what fog is. You can see pictures of the fog. You can talk about snow, but until you actually feel the snow, you don't know what it is. So very small exercises one can do is, for example, and again, I'm trying to be a little academic. I can give you a homework to do. So you can pick one thing. Every time and it's in your one of the multiple choice there, the last question in the chat. Every time you pass a threshold of a door, I will be mindful that I'm walking through a door. Or you can choose it to be every time I push the enter button on my keyboard. I will be just saying to myself, I'm pushing the enter button on my keyboard. Pick a very simple thing, but try to follow that for 2 days, and you will see how hard it is to simply take note of what you're actually doing when you're doing it at the moment you're doing it. But I think it brings a lot of focus, and it actually gives you a lot more energy because your mind is only doing one thing at a time. There are lots of research going on right now to validate that the multitasking is actually a myth, that we're actually just doing one thing, but we are switching back and forth very quickly. We learned how to do that with multiple windows open. But it is good for our minds to be able to just do one thing at a time. So I'm open to any type of question or comments right now. It's almost time, so if anybody want to talk or type up something, let me do that.
I see one question. The question is, how often do you incorporate mindfulness during an average day?
How often? I usually try to use the time that I have to drive for myself. So I never have music on. Even though I'm a musician, I never have music on. And that's the time that I am alone because I have a family. And when you're at work, you're surrounded as well, right? I use the time that I drive, and I could use a trigger that I can invent for myself. So every time I pass, let's say, a Toyota, right? And there are many of them. Then I would say, breathing in, I know it's a Toyota. Breathing out, it's a Toyota. And that's all. I mean, that's the short amount of time that I have. And it actually helps me enjoy traffic a little more. Of course, I have to leave more time because your reaction slows down. When your heart rate slows down, everything slows down, right? So for me, washing dishes, if I had the time and I said, okay, I'm going to spend 20 minutes washing dishes, I love feeling the water on my hands. I love seeing something cleaned up. And so it's up to you to pick what you want to do that day, or something that you do every day. You know, maybe it's washing your face with a certain soap, or I don't know what. Pick something. Maybe it's shaving. You pick something that you're going to dedicate that 20 minutes or so to doing it and enjoying doing it. Just do it regularly, but enjoy doing it. It could be a walk between classes. So I see, second question, do I incorporate mindfulness in my academic courses? In a sense, yes. When I was teaching world music, for example, the first class that I teach is I expose students to all kinds of weird noise from all over the world. Because to some students' ears, these are noise, but they are actually not noise. They are considered music in other countries. And then I went through the whole, the concept of what is music, the concept of what is pleasant to our ears, the concept of how we define aesthetically what is pleasing. And then that leads into how do we define what we taste, what we taste is good or not, right? And that links a lot into mindfulness. Because with mindfulness, if you're eating mindfully, it doesn't take much to fill you, and you are actually tasting a lot more. Like I said, the orange was the best orange I've ever had was at those retreats. So that's how I incorporate is by concept. When I teach Tibetan music, for example, then of course I bring up the bell and then vibration and how do we make vibration and appreciating vibration. So all of that are concepts that somehow is linked to mindfulness, right? How do we appreciate things? How can we get more joy out of very ordinary things? Basically, that's what it is. How do we open our minds up to things that might be like making you go, what is that? But then after a while, you open your minds up and then you see the beauty in everything. As a musician, do you see correlation between music and the brain? Oh, of course, this is my passion. I've written a few published articles about that, and we can do another session about that maybe because there's a lot to say about how we learn languages and how we learn in general and how we practice music and how we incorporate all of that in our neurons and how things are automatized as soon as possible. And that's a correlation with mindfulness is some of our habits, like if we hear a certain words, we react a certain way. We hear a certain jingle, we react a certain way, right? That's why marketing works. You walk into, they put that Christmas song before Thanksgiving, right, in the malls. And so when we learn about how we react to sounds and how we react to taste and sight, and we are mindful about how we react, then we might be able to change a little bit more. I find that Thich Nhat Hanh is very accessible and practical writer. Yes, Thich Nhat Hanh is the one that founded the Plum Village where I went to in 1980s. And so for me, he is into incorporating mindfulness in everything that we do. So I've had sessions of tea sessions with Thich Nhat Hanh where we are just enjoying tea together. There is not one word spoken, and we are enjoying each other's presence. And that is one of the practice that is practiced a lot in some of his retreat centers, is enjoying the food and enjoying the company without having to make a chit chat. And, interacting with body language and presence without having to go through words. Thank you, everybody. I don't see any other questions. Oh,
Just
Julia
one
mentioned-
last thing. If we do have a survey, so if everyone who's in the room, could you please take a moment and complete the survey? We are trying to bring you a diverse options for the webinar. So your feedback is really important. Like last semester, someone suggested mindfulness. So this semester we have a webinar about mindfulness. So thank you so much, Dr. Doe. I really enjoyed it. I feel so much relaxed now.
Me too.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Welcome. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vida.
I appreciate your time, and is it okay if someone emails you about questions?
Oh, sure. So I keep it open and then I look at the chat and I'll be able to, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.